Hi, I'm going to review two more books. The first is by Ivan Ilyich. He's a doctor. This was written in the 1970s, called Limits to Medicine. And I think there's a lot of really good points made in this book about the modern healthcare system and being written in the 70s. I mean, if this was written today, it would be so much more, but it's still accurate. What he saw as a doctor in the 70s was this movement away from caring for people who have something wrong, who have something that needs to be treated, from that to a system where everyone, as soon as you are born, you're a customer of the healthcare system. You're the product, not the sickness. The sickness isn't being treated, you're being treated. And there's certainly been some extension to life because of that. But what is the quality of life, and how much of our lives are we spending treating things that are just being human? How many of us are obsessively treating our nature, obsessively looking for the thing that is going to kill us, that may be decades and decades away, but by the time you're a fairly formed adult, you're already a product in the healthcare system. So his discussion is moving away from unnecessary medicines, moving away from unnecessary treatments, and looking at people as you assume they're a healthy person, and then if something is wrong, you treat what's wrong, rather than assuming everybody has lots of stuff that's wrong that needs treated right away, that we need to just dig into everybody's biology and anatomy and symptoms and find all the things that are wrong so we can medicate them. I'm not against the healthcare system. I've been very involved in recent years because of loved ones who have been fighting cancer, and I've had my own issues, a couple of surgeries in the last 6-8 years, but I think it's healthier to think of yourself as a person who may get something wrong with them that needs treating, as opposed to a product in the healthcare system where there's always something they're going to be looking for. You go in every 6 months, every year, whatever it is you do, and they look for the thing that they're going to find. They're going to find something, always. There's always going to be something that they want to treat. There's always going to be something that they want to work on for like 85% of all people. There are some really, really healthy people out there, but even they are going to be assessed by the healthcare system and found that they need some kind of medication, some kind of treatment. So I think the philosophical mindset, the mindset of I'm a healthy person, if something's wrong, let's work on it, as opposed to I am in the healthcare system because I'm the product, I think that's a big point in this book. I didn't really talk about the book too much. I kind of just rambled about my own opinion, but he's dead. So he's not going to be mad at me for not covering his book well enough. Well, that's a terrible thing to say. It's a good book, though. Makes you think. Second book is After the First Death by Robert Cormier. Not sure French pronunciation, I assume. But so when I was a young man, this is like a teenage reader book, a young reader book. I read a lot of his books when I was like in middle school age, I guess. He wrote The Chocolate War. It's great timing. Bless you. Thank you. He wrote The Chocolate War, Beyond the Chocolate War, some more famous books that I don't think were his best writing, but they were more commercially viable. But this is one of my favorites. After the First Death, We All Fall Down, Fade is a really good one. But this book is a fiction. Like I've said before, I don't read a ton of fiction, but here and there I do read some fiction. And I read this because I remember being so fond of Cormier's books. Cormier. being so fond of several of his books when I was young that I hunted this down and read it last year just to see what it was that as a young man I was so drawn to. And holy smokes, I remembered a lot of his other stories while reading this one. His voice is very familiar and has a big influence on my own writing. But it's kind of depressing. I think he has had a reputation of being a bit of a downer, a bit of a not negative, but sort of looking at the downside of things and the aspects of life that don't always work out the way we want them to. This story is about a young man. I won't go too deep into it, but ultimately he ends up on a school bus that has been taken hostage by some terrorists. It's got children on the bus, young children, and he is sort of put in between some dangerous people and some innocent people as an unprepared young person, basically just a child, a little bit older than a child. And the tragedy of being in that position and being confronted with the real dangers of adulthood that are sort of metaphorically on this bridge. The bridge itself, I think, is sort of the line between being a child and being an adult. And the dangers on the bridge are all the things that you face when you cross away from youth to adulthood. It's not a happy story, and it brought to my mind how many of his books that I read when I was young that were thematically similar, which I think has a big influence not only on my own writing, but on my character to some degree. I mean, I'm not like Mr. Sad Guy all the time or whatever. I tend to be optimistic. Even my wife would say, no, you don't. But I wouldn't keep pushing forward in life the way that I do through everything that I push through if I didn't have some sense of optimism in my heart. And there is optimism in this. It's just under layers of real tragedy in a fictional story. So I would say if you, I don't know who would read this book now because it is kind of dated. It's from my childhood. So, today, I don't know if kids today would like a book like this, if young men today would like a book like this, because it doesn't resemble modern life. There's no technology in it. It's not fast paced. It's not selfish. And I think young people today, they're growing up in a very selfish, fast paced society. And so taking your time to absorb the tragedy, to absorb the text, just the text itself, and the tone of a book, maybe isn't a high priority when you've got manga and video games and you're raised on One Piece, So all the fast-paced everything, I think a book like this would not appeal to kids today, and adults today might like it if there's someone like me who is, what am I, Gen X? So, this resembles our generation, our what we feel we've gone through. This was a very good book, but reading it just reminded me of all the things that kind of led me in the direction that I went emotionally in life. And I think Robert Cormier had an impact on my young mind that now reflects in things that I appreciate, stories and tragedies. I really appreciate a lot of tragedies in storytelling, movies and books and so on. So maybe that stems from his books a little bit. This was more of a ramble than a book review. I'll try to work on that. But thanks for putting up with me for another book video. Bye-bye.